Hello, this is Kurt, also known as 1upkid, and I'm back with another ramble. And this time around, I'm talking about a topic that I'm pretty excited about. And that is the fact that yesterday, on February 17th, 2014, Dragonball Z Kai is officially returning with the Majin Buu arc on April 6th, 2014. And we found out about this yesterday through V-Jump, which is a shonen magazine in Japan. And they actually make a lot of announcements through that magazine, and in one of the centerfolds, they show a picture of some promotional artwork of Dragon Ball Z Kai the Buu arc, in which they mention that it is going to be airing at 9 a.m., which will be replacing Toriko's time slot, which is a little weird because technically back in the day, Toriko replaced Kai, and now Kai's replacing Toriko. And that's really just because Toriko, as of right now, is just not doing so great. And I think they're just going with Kai because in the end, Kai's ratings were much higher than Toriko's ever was. So this is pretty great. We've actually known about the Buu arc of Kai for a long time, ever since Krillin's Japanese voice actor Mazumi Tanaka had informed us around November 2012 on her own blog, and she stated saying, "It won't air in Japan, but overseas, Dragon Ball Kai is continuing. Right now, we are recording part of the Tenkaichi Budokai, where Goten and Trunks are infiltrating the adults division by standing on top of the other's shoulders. The image is definitely clearer than before. We talked about how we wanted to air in Japan too." So as you can tell from Izumi's comment, she was stating that this was not going to air in Japan. It was going to be an overseas project. But I guess with Toriko's really poor sales, they totally changed their minds and said, let's bring Kai back for Japan as well. So it's pretty cool. What's interesting with this information is that with this out now, we should hopefully hear something for the US, because it's been stated by Mazumi Tanaka, and I'm sorry if I butcher any pronunciations for Japanese names, but it was also mentioned by Vegeta's Japanese voice actor, Ryu Hirokawa, that at one of his concerts that he went to, that he stated that the Buu arc of Kai would show up in the United States first before it does in Japan. And that was pretty recent. That was like back in November of 2013. So we should hear something about it from Funimation pretty soon, but we'll see. Many feel they'll probably say something at Anime Boston, which is in March, which is I think that's when they probably will announce it, but we will see what happens. But I am pretty excited about this because it also means it's finally announced. It's like it took forever and they finally said it. Now I do want to mention that on the actual centerfold, it's pretty cool, but it doesn't really say a lot. I mean, when you look at it, on the far left, you see these three pictures, and they're like footage straight from Dragon Ball Z. And I'm not sure if this is the Kai footage. I don't think anyone at the moment has actually translated anything on this cover, on the centerfold. Because at the moment, this is still meant to be, these were leaked pictures. But I mean, it has been officially announced because on V-Jump's own website, they have it listed there, and they don't leak stuff, they just announce it. But on the left side, they had three pictures of Majin Buu, Majin Vegeta, and Super Saiyan 3 Goku. And I'm not sure these are from Kai, but they do look like they're in widescreen, which Kai would broadcast in 16:9, but for the home release it would be 4:3. So who knows? But these could just be pictures saying, hey, this is, Z, and this is going to become Kai now. Right below it, of course, you have the full color manga that's coming out. Not a big deal. That's its own topic. Above that, of course, you have the promotional art from Kai, which is like the very first poster, which I don't know why they're showing again, because it's really old. And then you have some new promotional artwork on the right, which is Super Saiyan 2 Goku, Super Saiyan Vegeta, Super Saiyan Gohan, or Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, Super Saiyan Trunks, Super Saiyan Goten, Kibito, Supreme Kai or Kaioshin, Majin Buu, Babidi, Doboria, and Kid Buu. And on the far right, those are Dragon Ball Heroes stuff, so it's not that important. And of course, as you see on the promotional page, it says the date of when it airs. And apparently they will also, a week before the Buu arc airs, they're going to be showing Battle of Gods on television. I guess to kind of like hype up that Kai's returning. So it's like, here's the movie, and now you can watch the show. So it's pretty cool, and I'm pretty excited because I've been looking forward to this ever since we found out about it back in 2012 when Mizumi Tanaka leaked the information. What's also interesting, and something I would like to talk about, is that Kai actually has a new composer for the Buu arc, believe it or not. We actually found out about this information from a forum member from Kanzenshu, who I'll leave nameless because I don't have permission to use his name and I don't want to, get in trouble. He was actually able to talk to one of the Toei's employees. He spoke to one of the sound designers. He pretty much informed them, yeah, Kai, I can confirm with you that Kai is happening, but we're not supposed to talk about it. And when he started asking him questions, he did ask about the composer, and he said, yeah, we have a new composer. For a long time, he kept it under wraps, so this forum member knew who it was, but he didn't want to tell people because he didn't want to get this employee in trouble. But after this whole announcement was made, he pretty much indirectly stated who it was. And this composer is, I'm going to butcher this, Norihato Samimoto. And if you're wondering who he was the composer for Battle of Gods. So take that as you will. I had a feeling that was always going to be him. It just seemed kind of weird to hire this one particular composer just to do the movies and nothing else. So, might as well get your money's worth when you're hiring this completely out there. We never heard this guy before. It's pretty great because, back in the day we were supposed to have Kenji Matsumoto's score, but because of plagiarism it had to be removed, and then we got the Dragon Ball Z score by Sunuke Kachuku score, and it was okay, but the problem with it was just poorly placed, and it sounds old. It's pretty evident of that. I mean, it even sounded old back in the day, but, Kai was supposed to have brand new music, and so it's nice that we got a new composer for the Buu arc. What I'm kind of hoping that Toei will do is that they'll take this new music and rescore the first 98 episodes, because it's not impossible. They can do it. So that would be really nice if they were able to do this. So the things that I'm actually looking forward to with the Buu arc, with this announcement now, is that I'm really looking forward to all this crap they're going to get rid of, because there's the problem with the Buu arc was that it had a lot of intertwined filler. I mean, it had filler with canon footage, so they couldn't really cut around it. I mean, you couldn't really skip it. You couldn't really skip this filler because it was still part of the episode, so now they'll be able to cut those down and it'll be so much nicer, better pacing. I'm hoping it'll be around 50 episodes. It is a little longer than the Frieza and Cell arc, but we'll see what happens. But if they did that, they'll be able to split it up to 4 separate releases, 4 parts. So on the English side of things for the United States, for Funimation, I think for the voice acting, I think all of Gohan's friends getting recasted is going to happen. It seems like a no-brainer. Back then, they all did doubling up because their voice pool was very small. Now it's much larger. Technically, by the Buu arc, their pool was growing, but it was still pretty small. Originally, I actually only wanted Kira Edwards to return just as one role. Either she was either Goten or Videl. But after seeing her at Amazement 2013, in which she met all the Japanese voice actors, and the way she presented herself, and the way she was making comments, I think she can do both. Because she actually mentioned that she wants to make her portrayals closer to the Japanese version. She actually mentioned that for her Goten, she never liked the rasp, which I didn't like either, and she says that it hurts her own voice, so she actually wants to get rid of it. She actually did give us a preview of what it would sound like at a different convention, and it sounds really good. Interestingly enough, in the newest Dragon Ball Z game, Battle of Z, if you actually find footage of Goten, you can notice that she actually does get rid of the rasp, which means that she's probably using the voice she's been recording with, if she has in fact returned, which I have a feeling she probably did. And it just sounds much nicer, it just sounds cuter. Speaking of Kira Edwards, we gotta go with Laura Bailey, who's Kid Trunks, and just like with Goten in Battle of Z, if you listen to Trunks in Battle Z, he too's got rid of majority of that rasp. He actually sounds much more kid-like. And so Laura Bailey's probably also been directed to, get rid of the rasp, and she's probably using her Kai voice. Because, she's already been working on Kai. And I'll get back to that subject later. I think the other person that needs to be recasted is Dende, because Dende in Dragon Ball Z was Justin Cook. For those who don't know who he is in the Dragon Ball world, he is Raditz, and he is also Majin Buu. But the problem with him is that he sounded really flat. He would use his Yusuke voice from Yu Yu Hakusho. And it's a good voice, but for Dende, it was so flat. And at this point, he doesn't need to play every role. And I really think they should just stay with the Kai voice. When Dende was a kid, who was played by Maxie Whitehead. And she can just use her own older voice, because she also does Alphonse Elric from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. And she sounds great. And when, Al gets older, she sounds like a teenage boy, and so she can just carry that over for Dende too, and it would work. There would be no issue with it, and I seriously doubt anyone would have a problem with it, because it would sound fine. Majin Buu, I'm on the fence with this one, because I wouldn't mind a recasting, but at the same time, the original voices fit. Because even though I don't like how annoying Fat Buu is, apparently many people have stated that in Japanese version, he's also meant to be pretty annoying. I guess when you're the English speaker, you don't really hear it. You don't hear it through your ears because you're hearing a different language, but yeah, so I don't really think there's anything bad. I would say maybe Justin Cook should not be Super Buu. Not that he does a bad job, it's just it's a very bland voice. It's a voice we have all heard already, and we don't need to hear it again. I don't know. I don't have any issue if he returns though. And finally, I'm looking forward to Kyle Halbert's Gohan portrayal, which he also confirmed he is returning, and I will also get back to that topic later. And he actually spoke to a fan at a convention using his Kai voice, and also in Battle Z you can hear his Kai voice as well. And he makes him sound a lot younger, and it's actually more natural. It makes it sound like he's trying to match Colleen Klinkbeard's rendition of Gohan, which was the Gohan for Kai. Because in Dragon Ball Z, he was trying to match the original Gohan's voice, so with Kai, he's probably trying to match the new Gohan's voice, and it's just much better, more natural. It will also make him doing the Super Saiyan Man's voice much easier on himself, because, that voice is already meant to be kind of like goofy, but he can actually put a little more range into it, because he'll have to do is just deepen his voice. He won't have to make it more wooden, like he'd had to do in the past. So that's something, because I was very skeptical about him returning as Gohan, because I'm like, he always sounded too old. But I think now he can actually nail the performance, and it won't be a big problem. So those are the things I'm really looking forward to. But there was something that also happened yesterday that upset me.